The moment that changed everything didn't happen in a quiet room, nor was it whispered behind closed doors. It happened in a space filled with energy, where voices carried weight and attention was currency. This was the kind of setting where reputations could be built or dismantled in an instant. And in this particular story, it was Anton's betrayal of Kevin Samuels that would ripple across communities in ways many didn't see coming. At first glance, the names alone evoke strong reactions. Kevin Samuels, a figure who carved a niche in conversations about social dynamics, relationships, and lifestyle advice, had built a following that was both loyal and vocal. Anton, by contrast, was often perceived as a rising voice on the periphery of this same community, a figure with ambition, curiosity, and a desire to shape discussions from his own perspective. But what happens when alignment between two individuals with overlapping influence breaks down? That is exactly what this story explores. To understand the impact of Anton's actions, it's important to reflect on the context of his relationship with Kevin. They were once collaborators in thought, engaging in conversations that drew audiences and provoked commentary. Their exchanges, while sometimes heated, seemed to have a mutual respect underlying them. Public speculation suggests that their discussions were not just content-driven, but also carried an element of mentorship. Kevin's style was often firm, structured, and unwavering. Anton's approach, meanwhile, appeared more exploratory, willing to challenge conventional ideas and test boundaries. This combination initially created a dynamic tension that audiences found compelling. Then came the moment that would redefine that dynamic. Reports indicate that Anton made a series of decisions, whether by choice or circumstance, that were perceived as a betrayal by both Kevin and segments of their shared audience. The exact nature of this betrayal is a matter of debate, with some suggesting it involved public statements that contradicted Kevin's philosophies, while others point to collaborative projects that went in directions Kevin had not endorsed. Regardless of the specifics, the consequence was the same. The trust and alignment between the two figures was fractured. What made this betrayal particularly striking was its timing. Kevin was at a peak in influence, with his voice resonating across multiple platforms and demographics. Anton, meanwhile, had accumulated his own following, eager to see him make moves independent of Kevin's shadow. The interplay of timing, opportunity, and ambition created a scenario where the fallout was almost inevitable. Public speculation suggests that Anton's choices were driven by a combination of personal conviction and the desire to establish his own identity. Yet in doing so, he set off a chain reaction that would alter perceptions, alliances, and the very tone of conversations in their shared spaces. The immediate response was a mix of shock, confusion, and intense discussion. Social media platforms, forums, and comment sections lit up with debates about loyalty, integrity, and the boundaries of collaboration. Some supporters of Kevin expressed deep disappointment, framing Anton's actions as a breach of ethical conduct and professional courtesy. Others were more analytical, exploring the nuances of creative independence and the natural evolution of thought leaders. Through it all, one thing became clear: this was not a simple disagreement. It was a turning point. As the story unfolded, it became apparent that Anton's betrayal had consequences beyond the personal. It prompted broader reflections on community, influence, and the responsibilities of those with public voices. For some observers, the incident highlighted the fragility of trust in spaces where opinions hold significant weight. For others, it emphasized the importance of authenticity and the courage to forge one's own path, even at the cost of relationships and reputational risk. The dialogue that emerged was complex, emotional, and layered, drawing attention to the human elements behind digital personas. Midway through this unfolding drama, another layer emerged that reignited curiosity and speculation. Public discussions pointed to Anton's subsequent moves, projects, collaborations, and commentary that seemed calculated to assert his independence. These actions were interpreted in various ways. Some saw them as a strategic pivot, a methodical attempt to differentiate himself from Kevin's framework. Others viewed them as an escalation, a further departure from the principles of their shared discourse. This secondary hook is crucial because it illustrates how betrayals in public spheres often reverberate far beyond the initial act, creating a narrative that evolves over time and continues to capture attention. As reactions continued to pour in, the audience itself became part of the story. Comment sections, live streams, and reaction videos turned into battlegrounds of interpretation, with supporters on both sides dissecting every statement in silence. Longtime followers revisited old clips and conversations, searching for early signs of tension or ideological drift. This collective re-examination didn't just keep the controversy alive, it reshaped how both men were perceived, blurring the line between loyalty and independence in the eyes of the public. At the same time, Anton's evolving tone and messaging added further complexity to the situation. His words began to reflect a subtle shift, not overtly confrontational, yet unmistakably distinct from Kevin's legacy. Whether intentional or not, this recalibration suggested a deeper internal conflict between honoring past alignment and redefining personal identity. As each new appearance and comment dropped, speculation only intensified, keeping the narrative in motion and the audience closely watching what might come next. In analyzing this story, it's essential to acknowledge the nuances. Betrayal is rarely absolute. Perception plays a critical role. While some may define Anton's actions as outright disloyalty, others interpret them as a natural evolution of professional and personal growth. Context matters, and public speculation underscores the idea that influence and collaboration are not static. They are dynamic and susceptible to shifts in alignment, vision, and intent. Kevin's response, measured and thoughtful according to available reports, reflected the complexity of managing expectations in a community invested in both personalities. Rather than resorting to outright confrontation, he navigated the situation with a blend of clarity and caution, highlighting the difficulty of reconciling differing perspectives in high-stakes public spaces. The broader impact of Anton's actions extended to audiences who had invested emotionally in the narrative of mentorship and collaboration. Many followers found themselves reassessing loyalties, questioning assumptions, and reflecting on the boundaries of influence. This ripple effect demonstrates the profound ways in which decisions made by public figures can shape not just individual careers, but collective conversations and cultural understanding. Discussions that might have seemed niche suddenly acquired larger significance, touching on themes of ethics, ambition, and the delicate balance between personal growth and communal responsibility. By the time the dust began to settle, it was evident that Anton's betrayal had altered the landscape. Kevin Samuels' philosophy and approach remained influential, yet the incident introduced new dimensions to the discourse. Conversations became more layered, audiences more analytical, and participants more reflective about the interplay between loyalty and independence. The narrative also underscored a universal truth. Even relationships built on shared purpose can face rupture when personal ambition, evolving perspectives, and the pressures of public influence intersect. Reflecting on this saga offers a lens through which we can examine human behavior, decision-making, and the consequences of action in highly visible environments. Betrayal, in any form, is not just about the immediate breach, it is about the perception, the interpretation, and the long-term impact on community and culture. Anton's choices, whether motivated by strategic thinking, personal conviction, or a desire for self-definition, serve as a case study in how individual actions resonate far beyond their initial context. As we consider the lessons of this story, one theme emerges consistently: the importance of thoughtful navigation in spaces of influence. Public figures operate in realms where decisions are scrutinized, motivations are questioned, and outcomes are amplified. Balancing authenticity, ambition, and respect for collaborative relationships is a delicate act, one that requires both introspection and strategic awareness. Anton's journey, with all its complexities, highlights both the challenges and the opportunities inherent in such a landscape. Ultimately, Anton's betrayal of Kevin Samuels serves as more than a headline. It is a narrative rich with insight about trust, growth, and the dynamics of influence. It reminds us that even in spaces where power and attention are currency, human relationships remain fragile, complex, and consequential.
The story encourages reflection, invites dialogue, and challenges us to consider how choices, public or private, shape the trajectories of those involved and the communities that follow them. If this exploration of ambition, loyalty, and the consequences of public decisions resonated with you, take a moment to engage further. Like this video to support more in-depth narratives, subscribe to the channel for ongoing insights, and share your perspective in the comments below. How do you interpret the ripple effects of Anton's actions? Your thoughts add depth to the conversation and help us all reflect on the complexities of influence and human dynamics.